Hey, this is Gursky. Welcome to another episode of On the List. This is episode number 61. It's February 2021. We are coming to you from the BLEAV podcast network. My guest today is a good friend of mine who's also a very talented actress. If you're a child of the 80s and 90s like I am, she's someone who's been in our lives for as long as we can remember. We first met her as the lovable Punky Brewster back in 1984, and this month, Punky Brewster is back. The reboot premieres February 25th on Peacock. And if that's not enough, her new documentary, Kid 90, which uses her own home video footage from the 90s, premieres March 12th on Hulu. Of course, I'm talking about SOLEIL Moon FRYE.
Hello!
Who else could I be talking about? But
I
yeah.
love you. And I love that I asked you if I could just shove an ice cream sandwich in my mouth before starting. So excuse me if there's chocolate on
Listen, anything goes here on the list.
it.
We are on Zoom right now, so the video from this podcast will be available on YouTube and Instagram. And you'll notice I am wearing an On the List hoodie. It was sent to me by a company called Eat Sleep Tie Dye. And I liked it so much I asked them if we could sell some for charity. So if people want one, the money goes to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation for Childhood Cancer, which is my favorite charity. And they asked me who my next guest was going to be, and I said SOLEIL Moon FRYE. And they made a Punky Brewster edition.
Oh, I love it! Yay!
Rainbow. So I'm going to send that to you.
Thank you.
So that's the Punky Power version of that.
Um,
So before we get started, let's give people a little backstory. We've been friends for like 2 years, even though it feels like I've known you my whole life.
well, I met you, and I think officially we were like, oh, we've known each other forever. We've been
Yeah.
friends for a lifetime.
Well, you said you were like, I feel like we're camp friends.
I know. By the way, there's like I met a few like just a few amazing people this last year where I was like, oh my gosh, it's like summer camp all over again. It's amazing.
Right. It's interesting. But yeah, we had that immediate bond. And we met at a game night at Seth MacFarlane's house. Our mutual friend,
Yes.
Holly Wiersma, organized it. She invited both of us. I was put in charge of teaching everyone running charades.
It was amazing. And
Uh,
I thought that I did so amazing at charades.
you
And then
did.
and then I bumped into Seth like a few weeks later and I was like, I killed it at charades. And he's like, that's not what I heard. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like I thought I was really incredible, and apparently, I guess you guys all told him that I
I
like
didn't. No, I didn't. It wasn't
right.
me. I would never do that.
Who told him?
Not me.
Uh,
I think I know who, but I can't say it on here.
was it more than one person?
No, definitely not. I think what it was is the actress in you came out and you were very animated during charades, like strangling yourself on the floor for horror movies, that kind of thing.
That was thought it was bad.
No,
I was so committed.
first of all, our team won, so obviously it was good. But we've been friends ever since, and I was seeing you all the time at one point, but then the pandemic hit, so I haven't seen you since pre-pandemic.
No,
Um, I know, but it's good to see you
I
right
miss you and
now.
I miss our game nights.
I know. We'll get back to that.
We
That's
will.
something to look forward to, definitely. So what's interesting is it was like a month after they announced the Punky reboot, and I had sent you a DM, not knowing you, saying like loved Punky Brewster as a kid. I want to write for the show. I want my nieces to audition for the show. And then I meet you a month later, just by chance. It was almost like I put it out into the universe.
Well, I'm a big believer in manifesting, and I
Yeah,
think you manifested us to become friends.
I think so
I
too.
mean, and then I must have been manifesting it too, because then when I met you, I was like, oh, I love this guy. Like
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Beginning of a beautiful friendship, for sure. And that night I told you that my sister Michelle and I watched every episode of Punky Brewster together when it was
I
first
love it.
on.
You know more about Punky Brewster than almost anyone in the
I know a
world.
lot.
And I was at the pilot pre-pandemic, and you
Yeah.
actually came.
Yeah, I was at the pilot. I was standing in the Punky Brewster apartment, and it happened to be the day before my 40th birthday party. So my sister and brother-in-law were in town. They came with me. So the fact that I was with my sister on the Punky set after we'd like watched it as kids together was very full circle, you know?
Love it.
It was awesome. Yeah, we got to be there. And I also, do you remember what's up?
There's noise outside.
Oh,
I
that's
hear
okay. It's all
it.
good. Do you remember on your show, fans could draw pictures and send them in, and they would show them at the end? So my sister and I used to draw pictures. First of all, we were 4 and 7 when Punky Brewster started.
Amazing.
We would draw
Your
pictures.
love for the punky power is amazing.
Well, I just we felt it as kids. We just felt the Punky power.
I
But
love it.
But we drew a picture of you and Brandon the dog in a junkyard, colored it in, sent it in, and then you wait to see if you're going to be on at the end. But so I need to
Did you
find.
make it?
I think we must have because I have a happy
Yes.
memory of it. But I need to find like a VHS of that.
Sweet.
Um, but yeah, but Punky was like the first show you could like reach out as a fan, and they'd actually show your fan mail on TV, which was
Totally.
pretty cool. The other thing you told me the night we met was because we were talking about we love the 80s, we love the 90s, and you said you took all the footage from the 90s, your home video footage, and you made a documentary. And that was like the beginning stages of it. And here we are 2 years later, that's coming out too. I feel like Punky Brewster coming back and Kid 90 coming out is almost a culmination of your whole life in this moment. Are you feeling that too?
It is truly a dream come true. I mean, it feels so in alignment, the fact that, my love for Punky, and I've always wanted to bring Punky back.
Yeah,
And it just feels like the world can use Punky power more than ever right now.
totally.
And the documentary, it started as this journey where I was trying to put together the pieces of my past and see if things had happened the way I remembered them. And, uh, and so 4 years ago, I really started opening up these tapes and
Right.
starting to put the pieces together. But when I started it, it wasn't meant to be about me. It was really about everybody but me. And then it became this very life changing experience,
Yeah.
and just such a real honor, and so humbling and so painful and so cathartic, to go through that. And I think through the course of the doc, I also got up the courage to really go after Punky in this big way, and then to see them come together at the same time. I mean, I'll start crying. It's so emotional. Like I went to set every day just so full of gratitude and love and joy and thanks, for Punky, and then to be doing this documentary that I'm so passionate about, that's so true to my heart. It's really a dream come true.
Yeah. And for them to come out to the world like a few weeks apart.
I mean, it's so wild. It's like
It's
the other day, the
incredible.
Punky trailer came in the morning and the Kid 90 trailer came at night. And, it's like Punky's premiering February 25th. I'm
Yes.
so excited and honored. And the TCAs for Hulu are the same. And I'm just like, this is so wild. And
Right.
it really feels like a dream. And I think that when things are aligned, when you're really in alignment, you can just see those things manifesting in front of you, and it really makes it clear the things that are really in alignment and the things that are not.
Yeah. And the fact that they're happening at the same time, it's like your whole life has led up to this moment, which is why this is such a great time to interview you at
Like
this very
time
moment.
pulled it over. It's so wild.
Really?
I was just
Yeah.
talking, I don't believe in time in the traditional sense. I'm like space time.
Yes, totally. So let's take it piece by piece. Let's talk about Punky first. It feels like you're getting a second chance at a once in a lifetime experience,
It
which,
is the most amazing thing ever. It
yeah,
is so much fun. It is a dream come true. Like I literally have always said, if I'm 90 and people are 88 years old and people are still calling me Punky, I'm cool with it.
yeah,
I love Punky. Punky's such a part of my heart. I've wanted to do it for so long. So like now that it's come together, it's so dreamy. And it's so fun. It really feels like a continuation. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
people call things reboots, but like it's now Punky's grown up. She's single. She's like raising her kids. Her ex is Freddie Prince Jr. and
right.
going through all these different things. And it's really, I think, so much about coming of age again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, did Punky ever really go anywhere? Or she's always been like living in you?
He has always been living in me. There was years though where maybe where I think I lost a little bit of that, Punky power, that spark.
Yeah,
I love my kids, and I was so focused on, my kids and life and all of that, and I had always associated like, that spark with youth, and then
right.
like through the process of Punky and Kid 90, it's like that spark, or that creative spark, has just totally reignited.
So tell me how the reboot, or we'll call it the continuation. Tell me how that came about. Was it your idea? Was it the producers'
I had been
idea?
wanting to do it for a really long time,
Yeah.
and then this amazing guy that I worked with named Jimmy Fox reached out to me, and he had been wanting to do it, and He tracked down David Duclon. He figured out who was the original creator. He figured
Right.
out the people involved. We met Jim and Steve, our amazing showrunners.
Right.
And it was just this incredible culmination. And it happened. It has truly been um, such a mystical, amazing experience. I mean, it's so wild, down to like things like the gentleman came to build the treehouse one day, right? And
Yeah.
people come from different places, and he comes in, and this man looks at it, the drawings, and he goes, "I built the original treehouse." So he
No.
went to work that day not knowing what he was going to be building, and it turns out he's building the treehouse, and it's like the same person that built. By the way, I don't know if I'm supposed to announce the treehouse. It
Yeah,
might
that's
be a
okay.
secret.
It's in the
But anyway,
public. Yeah.
these mystical, amazing experiences that just feel like
Meant to be.
you're in the dharma of it.
Unbelievable. I love that I entered your life right before this all happened so I could kind of get this front row seat watching this all happen. And being there for the pilot, the set, it's an exact replica of the original apartment. They nailed every detail. There's even like cassette players, like stereos in the background. The hallway is exactly the same. When I walked in there, I was like, this is the hallway. There's the staircase. Same building that Punky grew up in. And in the continuation, Henry has left the apartment to her
Yeah.
and her kids. So how did it feel stepping onto that set again for the first time since 1988? 31
Idiot,
years.
I'm still such a kid.
I know. I am too. That's what I don't understand.
It was amazing. It was such a joy. Sorry, I'm like literally like Mr. Rogers playing the piano. Am I cold? Am I hot?
Perfect.
It was amazing. It was literally, first of all, it was so exciting to be a part of the whole process of
Yeah.
who had Punky become, where had she lived, where had she traveled, what places she had gone to, and really making sure that it also still felt like Henry's, apartment, that it
Right.
was so much theirs and the family that they became together. And so I was in awe the moment I walked onto the soundstage before when it was empty. Then I was in complete awe as our sets began, coming in. And
Yeah.
it just, it's been like watching a dream come true in front of my eyes. And when you have gone through so many life experiences, so many beautiful experiences, painful experiences, the roller coaster of emotions, to really see this coming back to life, it's been like this dream in front of my eyes, and I'm so grateful every day.
It's so awesome. And how did it feel being Punky again? You put on the overalls and the mismatched sneakers because the clothes are a very important part of becoming.
Yeah. The clothes are so important. Working with Mona May, who's like an icon, right? Like, I mean, Mona May is just one of the all-time greatest. Clueless and
Oh yeah.
Romeo and Michelle, and I mean, just like she's just
Oh,
amazing.
she's perfect for that.
She's amazing. So working with her was such a joy and such an honor. And bringing back, the different colored sneakers, and then who had Punky become? Because she
Yeah.
probably hung out with rockers and was on the road, and like so adding all of that was really fun too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that Punky hadn't changed her fashion sense just because she grew up.
Yes,
She's the
exactly.
same girl. You've said that you don't know where Punky ends and you begin. So explain what you mean by that.
So I think that for me, my whole life, from the time I was little, I always felt like Punky was such a part of me, and I always felt like a survivor. My dad was a boxer, and so we were taught, I mean, he was a Golden Glove champion,
Wow.
incredible boxer, and so we were taught like if you get knocked down, you get back up, you jump
Hmm.
up again, and so I think that from the time I was little, it's like I had there was just this spark inside and this spunk, and also this feeling of being tough and a survivor, and we were just the same in so many of those ways,
Right.
and then again, I so grateful for my kids and my family, and I also kind of had put a little bit of that artistic side, maybe had kind of buried it away a little bit, and it's like through Punky, I feel like and through the documentary, like I again like really started to rediscover it again.
Yeah.
So, whether it's life imitating art or art imitating life, I mean, it's all just like, I'm like, wow, the
Right.
kids keep saying, do they have hidden cameras in the house? Because, like, how do they know what we're talking about at night sometimes,
Yeah.
And it's wild because even on the personal front, like, there's been personal things that I've been going through where, the showrunners didn't know what was going on in certain situations. And literally, like, I would go, wait, we were just saying that like last week. Wait, this is so wild. Like, I mean, it really has been fascinating.
That's interesting. Which is imitating which, life or art? I like that. But yeah, you have a lot of the same qualities as Punky. You're very fun to be around. You're one of the most positive people that I know. You
Tell
kind of
me more, Brett,
no, but
please.
it's true. Don't you feel like I feel like you're very optimistic. Like you're someone when you're around Soleil, it's like always smiling, always building up the people around you. It's kind of like you exude kind of happiness, and so does Punky. So I don't know. It's very thin line, between the character and the real life person. At least in my experience,
Thank you.
I would
I
say.
think I draw upon her strength a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the pilot begins, I guess I can say this, with Punky talking to a picture of Henry framed on the wall. That's how the whole series comes back. Was that an out of body experience? Because I remember being there in person. It felt like it was emotional, not just for the character, but for the real person.
Yeah.
What
It
was that
was
like?
because George was such an angel to work with. I mean, he really was. And I realize it now more than ever. Just he was so kind and giving,
Yeah,
and I have felt his wings and Susie Garrett's wings. I felt them wrapped around us this whole time,
that's
and
cool.
so to be respectful of that, and also because I think Punky, it resonated so much with people, and the stories that I've heard from people coming up and talking about coming from a broken home
Yeah,
and being their friend or going through the foster system. People sharing stories that are so deeply personal and saying what Punky meant to them. I felt it was our duty to try to stay as true and authentic to the original, and we all did. And so that was incredibly important to us.
yeah. I think you nailed it. I mean, I won't give it away. I actually got a chance to watch the first 6 episodes.
You did?
I was sent a link prior to this interview.
Oh my gosh, tell me. I'm so curious.
Oh
Tell me.
yeah. Well, I don't want to give stuff away, so off camera I'll give
Okay, but
you.
will you tell me what you think
Yeah,
overall?
of course. Well, I loved it. First of all, I loved it. Second of all, I watched it with my nephew and nieces, who are the target audience. My nieces are 8, and Punky's 8 was 8 when it started, and Izzy, the little Izzy character's 8, and they laughed out loud at all the right moments. They said like "ah" at all the right moments, like when Izzy takes a picture with her eyes, in her mind. They
Oh,
reacted exactly how you would want them to react. So it's interesting that like this
good.
next generation is gonna have their own Punky Brewster. It's
Yay.
really cool. But we'll get into all that in a second. I wanted to say about Henry. He was played by George Gaines, like you mentioned. He passed away recently, 2016, and he lived to be 98 years old. So it's almost like he almost made it to the reboot. It.
What's really amazing is I was able to send, and I hope he got it, a letter to him, like towards
Mm,
his life, and just thanking him because he really did always encourage me to be an artist. And I'll try not to cry, but one of the things that I really, a memory that came out to me so strongly recently was he had given me this gift, and it was a diary with my initials on it, and he was really encouraging me to write it all down, to be a journalist. And
nice.
when we finished the first season, Ollie, who plays one of my sons, gives me this gift, and it's literally a diary with my initials, the
No.
same color that the one George gave me. And I was like, I just burst into tears because he didn't know the story about
Right.
George in the diary. And it was like, oh, it's just this like feeling that the angels are around us, and
Wow.
that you're on the right path. And it was really meaningful.
Wow, I believe in all of that stuff. So that's incredible that his spirit is there and that you kept in touch. It was like for the premise of the original show of this foster dad and this little girl, but you guys had such great chemistry. It was like He was like a two-hander, this spunky little girl and this serious older guy. So we'll talk more about the continuation in a second, but let's set the stage with the original Punky Brewster first and work our way back. The original Punky Brewster aired on NBC Sunday nights. I remember it was 7 o'clock, so adults would watch like 60 Minutes.
Yes, the grown-ups were on 60 Minutes.
And kids watched Punky. It was the perfect counter programming. Like we got our own show on NBC. So it premiered September 16th, 1984. Like I said, I was 4, my sister was 7. Instantly became our favorite show. And the story is that you beat out 3,000 girls who auditioned to play the role of Punky.
How do you know all these things?
I know everything about everything. But did you know that you beat out 3,000 girls?
I don't remember the numbers.
Something like
I remember that there was a girl who said she had gotten the part when I went in.
No.
And so my mom said, okay, let's go. And then I was like, no, I'm going in anyway. And then it ended up happening.
Wow. That's a lesson for life right there.
Right?
Wow. You stay on your path and
you gotta persevere. You keep going,
Yes, wow. I like that a lot. So you were 8 years old. That's the same age my nieces are now, Izzy and Sophie. You were acting since you were 2, is that correct?
5.
5, okay.
Yeah.
Well, online it says 2, but 5 makes a lot more sense. You were born in California.
Yes.
So you grew up kind of around it. Your dad, Virgil FRYE, was an actor. Your mom, Sandra, talent agent. So it almost makes
my mom was a food artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Caterer. Okay.
And my dad was an actor. He was also a civil rights activist. Was like really his passion.
Right. I've seen your posts about that, like Martin Luther King.
And a wild man.
Right. But it makes sense with those parents that you might end up in the business, right?
It was funny. Like I was super shy. I didn't talk till I was like 5 years old.
Oh, really?
My brother was an actor, and I was just hiding behind hiding behind my mom's legs, like on set.
Right.
And then one day I was like, I want to try this, and then they couldn't stop me.
Nice. Oh, I like that.
Yes.
And they haven't been able to stop you since.
By the way, and then all of a sudden I started talking, and I wouldn't shut up.
Right. You haven't stopped since. And explain also, before we move on to Punky, how did they come up with the name Soleil Moon? Because you're the only Soleil that I've ever met.
I was born in the month of the sun.
Okay.
And there was a song from Annie Get Your Gun. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night.
Wow.
So the sun and the moon.
That's perfect.
My dad, I think, wanted to name me Megan at one point, but my mom beat out with Soleil.
Soleil's much cooler. I remember,
I think Megan's really beautiful too.
Yes, but yeah, it's more common, I would say.
I feel like a Soleil. Like I can't really, or you could call me Moon also.
I noticed that people call.
Oh my God, I had the most amazing thing happen.
Okay, tell me.
So, and manifesting, right?
Yeah.
So the other day I go and I see this like amazing property that used to be like the Zap where they used to do the music, the Zap, right?
Okay.
Check this out. So I go and look and they're like, do you want, and by the way, it's social distance and masks and the whole thing. And like the person's like, do you want to see the painted cave? And I was like, yes. And, there was nobody else there. And I go up and one rock says Zappa and one's painted like a Jackson Pollock and one says Moon Fire spelled FYRE.
Wow.
My name was painted on the rock.
Did you take a picture? You must.
Yes. Do you want me to show you?
Sure. You can pull it up. Wait, that's crazy. Well, Moon Zappa is the name, right?
This had my name.
Yeah, that has your name.
I'm just telling you, my name was on the rock.
Right.
So now I call myself Moon Fire. And so my point is, Brett, you can call me Soleil, or you can call me
I call you Soleil.
Or you can call me Moonfire.
Wow, there it is.
Do you see that? That's my name.
Did you stop in your tracks?
Yes. I was like, my name is painted on the rock.
Oh my God.
And then of course I texted my friend Ahmed Zappa because I was like, I went by this, my name was painted on the rock. And
oh my God.
The only other name there was your last name.
Wow.
Isn't that
You're
amazing?
on the right track. That's all I can say.
Okay, so here was the thing. Okay, so I love that you said that um, because you're 1,000% right. It was this message of you're on the right path.
Totally.
It was like, and only I would, when somebody shouted down from somewhere else, like, if you want to go check out the paint? And I'm like, yes, yes. And I'm
Right.
like hiking up.
No, man, it's incredible. I have moments, I have like synchronicity happens to me all day long, and I just keep telling myself, that's another sign. That's another sign. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right
Because
thing.
well, I mean, I'm obsessed with quantum physics
Yeah.
and manifesting
Yes.
um, and when you start to see the miracles around you and the alignments, it really,
Yes.
it's so beautiful and
Yeah.
mystical and amazing. And
I write them down. I keep track of all of them.
yeah, do you study your dreams too?
A little bit. I'll Google them, but I do keep a journal every night.
Of your
Since
dreams?
oh no, just of no of my day, of what's going on in my
I
life.
highly recommend it. I mean, I really like one of my favorite things to do is study subconscious and dreams. And I did
Yeah.
that and then I started doing it again and it's fascinating.
Whenever I have an unusual dream, I'll text you and you can analyze. You can tell me what
Oh
I
yeah, like
mean.
I love it because when you think about it, like our conscious minds, like, or, if you look at like the iceberg, right, is like up here, use
Yeah.
this, our subconscious and unconscious is like everything,
Yep.
below that.
We,
So yeah, so I think it's incredibly important.
well, the other thing I was going to say, by the way, about Soleil is because of you. When I took French class in middle school, I already knew the French word for sun because I grew up knowing who Soleil Moon Fry was.
Oh,
So
I
when they
love
were like,
that.
"Who knows how to say sun?" I was like,
I mean, Brett, I'm telling you, you can call me Soleil or you can call me Moonfire. I,
Moonfire.
I'm super down with this new nickname. Oh,
Yeah.
and by the way, Bruce Springsteen, "I'm on Fire" is like my favorite song of all time. So
Wait, do you remember we were in a car and it came on and you were like,
yes,
and you freaked out. You were like, "This is
it's
my
my song.
song."
See, are you seeing the synchronicities?
Yes, that was. I do remember that moment. It was on the radio. It's not like you put it on. It
Right, and I
came.
freaked out, right?
Yes, you freaked
And
out.
then, and look at, and I wore my Bruce shirt, and I didn't even realize I'm obviously wearing it in honor of.
And do you know where I am right now? Quarantining. I'm in New Jersey, where Bruce is the king.
I mean, he's the king everywhere, right?
Yeah, but
Obviously.
especially here. That's so funny. Well, we gotta continue talking about Punky Brewster. So,
Okay.
so Punky Brewster was your big break. You beat out all those other girls. You remember the audition. Do you remember shooting the pilot? Do you remember like doing this job, not realizing it was gonna change your life?
I remember so many things. I remember Cherry and I meeting at the audition
Oh
and
yeah,
being
I like that.
amazing and us being, like total troublemakers from the time we were little. And I remember it feeling so real and right. And there was just there was an energy there. And I mean, because you were there when we shot the pilot for
Yeah.
the new episodes. And I felt like you could hear a pin drop in the audience,
Oh yeah.
just there was just an energy. And I'm a big believer in frequencies and energy, and the energy that was there at that time was so um pure. And I love the idea that, and still is. And the idea that this is a little girl who was abandoned by her father and left by her
Hmm.
mother in a shopping center, and then she finds this older man that then becomes her foster father. And it really goes to show, that there's the families that we're born into, and there's the families that we choose, and sometimes there's a mix of both.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like we were able to deal with real topics and real issues at the time, and that we were able to create conversations around the dinner table, or make someone who didn't have that dinner table to be at not feel so alone, and
Absolutely.
and so I just am so full of so much gratitude for that. And that's why it's like, for me, you could call me Punky forever. By the way, add that. You could call me Soleil, you could call me Moonfire, you can also call me Punky. And
Okay.
you know,
It's a badge of honor.
Brewster, Punky, whatever.
Yeah.
But it just makes me so proud, to have been part of that. And I don't take any of it for granted. And you're gonna make me cry. I feel so grateful, Brett. Like I feel so, so grateful. The
You
fact that
should.
I get to do what I love is And when so many people are out of work right now and
Hmm.
not working, the fact that I've been able to go to work, I know how fortunate I am, and I
Yeah,
also really want to be of service to others. I mean, as you know, that's such an important part of my life, and I feel like this is all so incredible. It's also, I think, a responsibility that comes along with it that we must, at least I must, be of service. That's the way I
yeah.
feel, and so. Um, I really hope that I can, make people smile through it, heal through laughter, and really be involved in philanthropic ways that are really important and fundamental to who I am.
Absolutely. Well, you just mentioned the energy that night of the pilot, and the audience didn't know that Cherry Johnson was part of the reboot. So,
Right.
do you remember when the door opened and it was Cherry? They cheered for so long that they had to keep redoing it because the audience was cheering too
It was
much.
awesome. It was amazing.
It was taking up too much time. They were like, "You guys, chill." The audience could not stop cheering, which was, and she started crying, then you started crying. I mean, it was like it wasn't just a sitcom taping. This was like
No, and that's what we said
epic.
at the end. Cherry spoke and then I spoke, and it was like
Yeah,
these are not characters to us.
yeah,
These are our lives.
yeah. I filmed your speeches at the end. I have that. I have to send it.
Oh, please send it to me.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so,
Maybe you can cut it into this.
oh yeah, cut right now to the 5 minute speech. But what people might not know is that Brandon Tartikoff was the head of NBC at the time when the show started. And growing up, he had a crush on a girl named Punky Brewster. So
Her name was Penelope Brewster.
Penelope, but they called her Punky,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so she was a real person that he named her after. She
yeah.
was like a tomboy, and she was older
Dog was
than
named
him.
Brandon,
Then the
and
dog was named Brandon, and so Punky's like a real person out there somewhere too. And I think Punky became the character became a lot of people's first crush. Also, did you feel that growing up that people had a crush on
I
Punky?
love this. I didn't real like. I mean, it's so sweet. Like now, when I hear stories, like it just touches my heart. I know I had a lot of crushes growing up.
Right, yeah. No, but she was cool. I think that's what it was. She was cute and she was cool and she was like fun. I was 4 or 5. I had a crush on Punky Brewster. I had a crush on Marsha Brady from the Brady Bunch. And I had a crush on Janice Pennington, who was one of the Barker's beauties on Price is Right. Those were
Oh,
my.
so you had a lot of crushes. It wasn't just me.
No, it was mostly
You're
Punky.
supposed to say one.
Mostly
You're
Punky.
supposed to say I just had a crush on you. That's
Right.
that's your answer in the future.
Mostly Punky. But I do remember also watching Brady Bunch and getting jealous when Marsha liked other guys.
That's so
I was like,
funny.
what's up with that? No, but
By
let's
the
talk
way,
about.
I am
Yeah.
laughing so hard because I had no idea that this banana was sitting here the whole
Oh, I didn't realize either.
time. Because sometimes I get to that stage where I have to like eat all the time.
Yeah. If you
So
get
I
hungry,
brought a banana in here, and then I just realized that it's like I'm just way too comfortable with you. I'm like,
I guess. Listen, if you get hungry during the podcast, you're allowed to eat. There's no rules.
hope you don't mind if I do.
There's no
And
rules.
she started eating a banana.
Ice cream sandwich. Wait, so let's talk about the cast of the original, and then we'll talk about the cast of the new one.
Okay.
So on the original, it was you as Punky Brewster. It was George Gaines as Henry. He had a photography studio at the mall, and Cherry Johnson as Cherry Johnson, which obviously they named it after her. Susie Garrett, who you mentioned, played Betty Johnson, who was Cherry's grandmother. Amy Foster was Margot, who we also knew from Troop Beverly Hills.
Yes, which did you hear the news? That
Yes,
she's doing an episode. It's very exciting. She's guest starring. She's like awesome.
I
Yes.
saw it. I actually got to see it. I didn't know if I was allowed to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she was in an episode. Yeah, it was great to see.
WWE and I mean, hello, right?
That was cool. Yeah, the character Izzy is a big WWE fan, we learned. And then Casey Anderson played Alan, and Sandy the dog played Brandon the dog. So was this like your second family growing up? Because you were with them every day for 4 years, right?
1,000%. And Sherry was always, I was inseparable from her, and we were all hanging out all the time. And so yes, very much a second family.
Yeah. Do you remember?
The same way that these kids are, I feel so
Instantly.
fortunate that their parents share them with me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it feels very much the same now.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when Punky Brewster became a phenomenon? Like, do you remember, like, the first time you got recognized on the street?
I do remember. I remember this incredible moment where we lived in this little apartment, and it was in Los Feliz, and they used to have this carnival, this little carnival. And I remember going to the carnival that I had gone to like all the time for years and years and years, and people coming up, and it was like the first time that I ever had people recognize, you know what I mean? And that was so wild. And my mom was just so incredible about, having me always, just always communicating with the people that would, there was just a sense of love, and like
Yeah.
and that I was still a kid, you know what I mean, that I hadn't changed, you know what I mean, like this doesn't mean that you're, any better, you know what I mean. She just kept me like, helped to keep me grounded of just like, okay, this is wild, this is really amazing and fascinating, and yet, we're going to go and we're going to work with the mission next weekend, and we're going to do the
Right.
constant teaching of what it is to give back.
And you still do that with core response. You're still giving back all the time.
I've got to tell you, I am so proud and honored to be able to be a part of core, and to be a small part of just this incredible movement. I
Yeah,
am so
they've been doing.
grateful. I mean, Brett, when I tell you, so we've vaccinated over 300,000 people now.
No way. Wow. And you've been doing the COVID testing for a year. They've
We've
been
done
testing you.
now over 4.8 million tests across
Wow.
the country. We're operating the largest site in the country right now at Dodger Stadium.
Right.
We've worked with the Los Angeles Fire Department, with Mayor Garcetti. I mean, it's just, it is so awe-inspiring. And I went down a couple weeks ago and just looking at, the work that the team's doing in the field. I'm so awe-inspired by Ann Lee and Sean Penn and the amazing work they're doing, and the whole team and the whole staff. And I just sat weeping, just looking at this incredible work, and so honored and humbled. I mean, truly, next to my kids, I can say it's the work that I'm most proud of being a part of.
Oh, incredible. And now I understand since it was instilled in you by your mom at such a young age,
I mean,
volunteering and
look,
giving back.
it's absolutely being of service.
Right.
Um, to me is fundamental in our beings, and I love when I see how aware and awakened my kids are, in taking initiatives of what they want to do. And I think learning that in an early age is it's so important, and it's so important as part of, at least for me, as part of my soul purpose, because I feel so grateful to be able to do my art, to be able to be creative. I feel so grateful to really be able to feel like I can, help be of service in some way that might make some difference.
Yeah.
And so that's a true joy. And then always looking at how we can do more. I was talking to our incredible CEO and co-founder, Anne, and she was just saying, we keep doing more, we keep doing, and that's such a mindset of people that want to do more, and to really create change.
Yeah. And that's one of the best things is when you're given a platform like you've had almost your whole life to be able to take the platform and use it for good.
It's,
That's
there's,
incredible.
to me, there's no question. I mean, I will get very emotional. It's like, of course, right? I mean, we are so fortunate,
Hmm.
and so we're so fortunate, and so of course, like, I mean, when I see these frontline workers, and the doctors, and and the firefight, I mean, just, I'm completely blown away, and I'm so lucky and fortunate and grateful to be doing my art. I
Yeah.
better, can I cuss on this? Like, I better
Sure.
fucking do my part, and like
Yeah.
do what I can, right? Like,
Yeah. You would hope everybody thinks that way.
I can only speak for myself. Like,
Yeah.
I absolutely know that it is fundamentally
Your
my
purpose.
duty,
Mhm.
to try and do more.
Yeah.
Try to
Well,
do as much as I can.
not to keep bringing it back to Punky, but the original Punky Brewster aired for 4 seasons very successfully, 88 episodes. You literally grew up on that show. And Uh, do you have a favorite episode of the original?
I
Or
have so many favorite episodes. I don't
really?
even want to start. Um,
No, man.
Challenger was an
Oh
incredibly
yeah, that
important
was amazing.
because I've always wanted to be an astronaut. I
Mm,
still want to be an astronaut. I plan on going to space at some
really?
point.
Wow.
Um, I really do. You know, I believe in manifesting, so I think it'll
Okay.
happen. And so when that we were watching in the classroom when it happened, and I was crushed, as so many were. And so it was interesting because I think they would see you know so many of our real life experiences that we were going through, and then use them as learning moments,
Yeah,
teaching moments.
absolutely. Yes, it was a very teachable
So
show.
yeah, very, so that one really, it really meant so much to me. I mean, there's so many. Now, another one that I will mention is Andy Gibb. Andy Gibb was one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. I was so crazy in love with him. And I love the fact that when he's playing the piano, and I really hope you can like cut to shots of this and stuff. I don't know if you'll be able to in your show, but
Maybe.
if you see the way in which I am like this, like gazing into his eyes, like you see a little girl like completely falling and crushed out loud. Like it's all over me. And so
That's
I
so
see
cute.
him so kind. And one of the episodes, I think he actually did two episodes. And no, he did do two episodes. I just don't know, did he play two different people or the same? So anyway, so there was the beauty pageant episode, and he wore this black sequin jacket. And at the end of the episode, he said, "Okay, close your eyes," and he wrapped the sequins jacket around me. And I think it was the jacket he'd won solid golden,
Wow.
and it was like that's just an example of someone being so kind and showing such kindness to a kid that just lasted forever. And I think that's one of the things that's been so amazing. And in looking back at George Gaines and Susie
Yeah.
Gaines, they really treated us as equals. They didn't talk
Hmm.
to us, and they were really kind and giving, and that really, that sticks.
Yeah.
It really leaves a profound effect.
Yeah. Well, the first night I met you, I brought up an episode. I don't know if you remember. I brought up the Cherry Lifesaver episode,
Oh,
uh,
you mean the refrigerator?
the refrigerator. I had to bring it up.
Of course, I mean, we could talk about refrigerator episode all day.
Right.
That was like a kid wrote in that idea.
Right, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Oral histories have been written about this episode. It was like I had to talk to you about it because it actually scared me away from ever even thinking of hiding in a refrigerator.
Well,
Because
absolutely. And by the way, and Cherry knows more about the refrigerator episode than anyone. And she really, I mean, it's fascinating because at the time, a lot of people would leave their old refrigerators outside, and
right,
there's a whole store. I mean, there is like really, it's
it's
incredible.
it was
And
life changing.
yeah,
And yeah, the kids play hide and seek. Cherry hides in the refrigerator that's been left outside. She ends up getting so cold she passes out, and it taught kids all over the place don't ever hide in the refrigerator. I think you saved lives with that
and
episode.
by the way, it also taught CPR in a way where
Yes,
letters of kids who actually were able to help save lives because they had seen the CPR in the episode.
yes, exactly. So now that we've talked about the original Punky, let's fast forward from 1988 to 2021. Punky's back. Tell us where she is today. You have a lot in common with her. You were saying she has four kids. You have four
Yes,
kids.
Punky has so she has three kids that she's raising as a single mom, and
Right.
this amazing little girl comes along that reminds her so much of herself. And through Izzy, I think really she is rediscovering her punky power, which
Yep.
is so awesome and beautiful. And really, she's coming of age all over again. And her ex-husband's played by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yep.
And they still have chemistry, and it's almost like they love each other more now that they're not together than when they were together. And
Yeah.
this whole will they won't they thing, and that's really fun. And it's great. I love the idea of seeing this strong woman who is coming of age again, and it's very, very fun to dive
Yeah.
in.
And she's a photographer like Henry was. She has a photography
Yes,
studio
she's
like he did.
and she's traveled around the world, and yeah,
She meditates. She's very.
meditates. I mean, the similarities are just like
You are
amazing.
punky. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I
So,
think, yeah, and I definitely think like the showrunners didn't know. I mean, like I literally will go and sit in the yurt for like days. It's
yeah. Yeah. So Cherry's back as Cherry, which was awesome, which we said. You
she's amazing.
mentioned, yeah, you mentioned Freddie Prinze Jr. playing Punky's ex-husband Travis.
Yes, we have the incredible Jessica who is playing Cherry's girlfriend, who's so incredible and
Right.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's such a great team.
Yeah. Lauren Donzis plays Hannah. Noah Cottrell plays Diego. Oliver De Los Santos plays Daniel, and Quinn Copeland plays Izzy. Those are the
And
four
they are
key.
such amazing. They're so
They're
beautiful.
all so good.
Yes, and then we have fun guest stars like Seth Green came and played with us.
Right.
So fun.
No, so Seth Green, like I've hung out with you with Seth Green when we were at Seth
Yes.
MacFarlane's
By the way, it was
birthday
the first time
party.
I've seen Seth in like 20 years. And see, it's like time folded over when we
Wait,
saw him at Seth's house.
I was gonna ask, right? So Seth MacFarlane had a Labor Day barbecue. We
I
were
love
there.
how it all keeps coming back to Seth MacFarlane.
Well, yeah, well, it's true. He hosts a lot of parties, but we went to
Well,
his
not
Labor Day.
now, not during
Not
COVID. This
now.
is pre-COVID.
Pre-pandemic, he hosted a lot of parties, and so
All I know is it was so much. We had some really fun
we were
times.
having a great time.
I mean, I can't wait till we can all hang out again.
I know it's long overdue, but Seth Green, you ran into him at Seth MacFarlane's because he does a voice on Family Guy. You walk in with Jenny Lewis. You,
One of my childhood best friends.
exactly. She was in True Beverly Hills with Amy. And
Yeah.
so you see Seth Green. Did that lead to him ending up on the Punky
Yeah,
Brewster?
literally, I bumped into Seth. I hadn't seen him in so many years. It was like not a day had passed. It was so
Right.
awesome. Here I am with my best childhood girlfriend, one of my best childhood girlfriends, Jenny.
Yeah.
And literally, we walk in, and who do we see? Oh, and Scott Grimes, we bumped into. Literally,
Right.
it was literally like a reunion of childhood friends. And that's the thing is like we all grew up together, and we really uniquely were so close and such
Yeah.
good friends. Like, I mean, Seth and I did seances together. We would hang out. We would read poetry together. We were just great friends. And Jenny, I mean, is just one of the closest people in my life. I mean, amazing. And so, yes, so reconnected. And then
Amazing.
when it came time for Punky to go on her first date,
Post
Seth
divorce.
Green,
Yeah. So you just
I was
called him
like,
up and he was down.
oh yeah, I was like, Seth, can you come play with us? He was like, sure.
Yeah, I got to see that episode. It's really fun.
He's like,
It's
I
a good.
always wanted to do Punky. It's so fun.
It's great. You're getting to make up for lost time with everybody.
Mhm.
Are there any other guest stars that you can talk about at this time, or no?
The rest, did I just give you a shower across the screen? Sorry.
Yeah.
The rest are under wraps for now.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. It's exciting that all these people are coming to play in the Punky universe.
Yes. I'm,
Uh,
I'm already thinking about, I'm like, okay, so when do we get to start the next season?
yeah, exactly. And I remember at the pilot, Sarah Michelle Gellar was there because she's married to Freddie Prinze Jr. And didn't you and Sarah Michelle have like a talk show in the
We did
'80s?
tween talk show together called Girl Talk. It was like, Girl Talk, let me hear you talk. It was very fun. And she was awesome.
But that's like very full circle that now her husband is your TV
I
husband.
mean, it's also full, I call it a spiral.
Spiral. Right. It's more than full
She was
circle.
so lovely. And yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah, and the pilot was obviously filmed pre-pandemic, like you said, so you were able to have guests there. So tell me what it was like to shoot the rest of the series during the pandemic.
It was wild, I have to say. I mean, so grateful that we were able to do it safely, that we
Yeah,
were one of the few productions to be able to keep going. It was so important to all of us to do it safely and to really try to keep it going and use it as a model of how we can get people back to work.
yeah,
I was so full of gratitude that I have had my experiences with CORE. So I feel like I had um, an understanding, a deeper understanding around this.
hmm,
And our medical team was incredible. UCP was incredible. Peacock was incredible. Our cast and crew were amazing.
yeah,
And it was really wild. I mean, wearing masks and face shields through your rehearsals, doing Zoom in order to do your table readings and your run throughs and all of that kind of stuff. And as human beings, like we love to touch each other, like and hug. And I'm a hugger, and like
Hmm.
have to not be able to like touch each other or be near each other. You know what I mean? And all of that. And it was really wild. But I'm so proud that we were able to do it. That we stayed up and running. One of my favorite stories is we had this really important scene in a car all together,
Hmm.
and we couldn't be in the car together. So I don't know if you know this, but in that episode we each were in the car by ourselves
No, I did not know that.
talking. So each one of us was talking to tape, not even someone off camera, and then they cut it together so that it looked like we were all in the car together.
Wow,
Right. No, we weren't in the car together.
I did not know.
Isn't that amazing? So that makes me so happy. So one of the best compliments I got was somebody was like, the chemistry between you guys in the car. I was like, yes, we
I,
did it, because it was so important to us to keep the integrity, even though we were shooting in these times that were so surreal and yet so real.
I actually thought they purposely put you in the car because it's such a contained place to
No,
be.
we couldn't be in the
Wow,
same
that close. Well,
for
to me, like a multicam sitcom is almost best suited, format for a pandemic because it's, a set, but you guys actually go outside the
yeah.
sound stage and you do outdoor scenes too. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you were able to complete 10 episodes during the pandemic. They
Well, one
all,
episode we had done
right.
pre-pandemic,
Well,
one
you were
we
able to
did
complete the
not.
first season, right? And Peacock is going to release it Netflix style, so all 10 episodes on February 25th.
Peacock's gonna do it Peacock style.
Yeah, Peacock style, exactly. But not NBC style, where you have to wait every week. And so they all come out at once on February 25th,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
you're just days away. And then the other project that we mentioned, Kid 90, which
Days
premiered
away. Oh my god, I'm so
really
excited.
days away.
Nervous for
And
Stephen.
and Kid 90 is only a few weeks away. And so explain how in the 90s you carried a video camera everywhere you went. Because I did the same thing. I brought mine to high school and I made a senior year documentary, like a 4 hour long documentary. So
So
I
I
understand.
carried my video camera everywhere I went throughout the 90s. I kept
Yeah,
all of my diaries, all of my audio recordings, all my voicemails, and then I locked it all away for over 20 years. And I wondered if things had really happened the way that I remembered them. And so I decided to unlock the vault, and I essentially opened Pandora's box and
mm.
really discovered self-love. So like true self-love. So it has been a real life-changing journey.
What can people expect to see when they watch the documentary?
Well, it's a really it's a deeply moving coming of age story. It's really about me coming of age, both as like my teen self and my adult self,
Mm.
and then revisiting old friends and some that people have grown up with. So it's been really fun to go down memory lane with old friends like Steven and Brian and all of these kids. We all really genuinely grew up in this friend group together,
Right.
and yeah, so I'm really proud of.
Yeah, that's Stephen Dorff and Brian Austin Green for people who might not know. Also, Balthazar Getty, David Arquette, who's been on the podcast, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Jenny Lewis, who we talked about. And the documentary is produced by Appian Way. Tell me how that came about.
So Appian Way has been so incredible. My dear friend Sean was one of the very first people to see it,
Right.
and I was so incredibly grateful, and I was very nervous to show him because in the first round I had like used the Into the Wild soundtrack as my
Right.
entire score. So I was very excited to show him, and he was so supportive. And he then told my childhood friend Leo about it, and then Leo connected me to the incredible Jennifer and Philip and Appian Way. And so it's just been such a true see, you're gonna make me cry again.
I'm just asking
It's
questions.
just it's been such a true light and joy in my life to see people whom I love and respect so much really rallying around me, and to have such support, you know, has been incredible and has like really been a dream come true. Like the idea that Happy Hawaii is on this is
Amazing.
like, if you could have told my teen self that, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
that Sean would be the one to tell him. And I mean, just people whom I respect so much and have so much love for, to have them be so kind. And then the musicians that have come forward, and,
Yeah.
Linda Perry creating such an incredible score, and, support from friends like Sarah and Jenny, and just all of these people who have come around me with such love. It's just it's so moving, and it just
Yeah.
means the world to me.
It really is. It's amazing to see. It's a culmination. And it's interesting because we were, not to bring him up again, but Seth MacFarlane's birthday party was at Chateau Marmont, one of the last things we got to go to before lockdown. And Leo was there, and Seth Green was there, and we were standing with them. And Leo said it felt like a 30-year reunion. Like to him, those were the kids he grew up with. He started on a sitcom too. He was on Growing Pains, so it was cool to
I
see
love
you.
him so much.
Yeah, you and Leo and Seth like all grown up, but still feeling like kids. When you're with each other.
I feel so grateful, and I have so much love for him and for the incredible people that I was so lucky to grow up with, um that were just true friends.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I love the '90s, so
They've shown up for me now, is just amazing.
yeah, I love the '90s. I can't wait to watch Kid 90. I'll watch it the day it comes out. And
Wait, March 12th.
March 12th. And speaking of the '90s, I can't let you go without talking about a couple things you did in the '90s that are
Okay.
iconic. Ready?
Okay. And then
So,
hear my kids screaming in the background.
yeah, I do. And then you have to go back to real life.
Well,
Um,
I mean, I would stay here all night. I can hear them screaming about food, possibly.
okay, so ready? Bear with me. So 1990, you were on the Wonder Years. You
Yeah.
played Mimi, who was the love interest of Fred Savage's Kevin Arnold. And 1992, Saved by the Bell, you were Robin, love interest of Screech, Dustin Diamond. I saw you just posted about him. He just passed away. What do you remember about being on Wonder Years and Saved by the Bell and these iconic shows?
Wonder Years, I remember having so much fun. We were in a lake, and I remember Fred and I were like in the middle of the water for a very long time.
Yes,
And
in
I
a
also
canoe.
remember that during these years, I was also going through like kind of my awkward stage in puberty. So I was developing very fast. So that was interesting. I
Hmm.
really talk about that in the doc. And then Saved by the Bell was really fun because I had known Mark Paul for years. Mark Paul had actually been on Punky.
Oh, yeah.
I was friendly with Mario, so that was super fun. And rest in peace, Dustin. He was so sweet.
Yes. And my favorite show, one of my favorite shows, Friends, in 1999, you were on Friends, which is epic because it's still timeless. People are still watching it all the time. The episode is called The One with the Girl Who Hits Joey. The episode was named after you. You played Katie, love interest of Joey, played by Matt LeBlanc.
Well,
And
Katie was actually, I think, somebody that worked on the show. I think it was named after her.
no, the episode was named.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The episode is called The One with the Girl Who Hits
Really? Oh
Joey.
my god, you just really made me. By the way, if you ever want to do a quiz with friends,
Yeah.
my girls can. I bet they
Let's
beat
do
me.
it. Wait, when the next time there's like an online virtual
Oh,
friends,
oh,
we'll do
for
it.
my kids are like determined to like literally like do friends trivia like all day long. They're
Do they
amazing.
love? Do they love that you were on an episode? Because
Yeah, and they can recount like every single episode ever. Well, what was so interesting about that, my dad was a boxer. So like I
right.
grew up loving boxing. So it was like it was hard for me to like fake box because like I've always been like, like Miss like boxer.
Yes. And so right, every time you see Joey, you're dating him, but you like playfully punch him, and he
Yeah.
can't take it. It's such a memorable role. What was it
Um,
like being part of that cast for an episode?
he's coming little packages.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a dream.
It was awesome, right? It had to
It was
be.
a dream come true.
I love that show so much, and
So much fun.
it
It was
withstands
so fun. And it feels so iconic to like it's like so it's so
totally.
funny. It's like thing that I think My kids are one of the things they're most proud of.
Exactly. Right. Second to Punky, friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, last but not least, shortly after that, you were a regular on another long-running hit sitcom, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You were on seasons 5, 6, and 7. You were Roxy, who's Sabrina's college roommate. You and Melissa Joan Hart.
So fun. And Melissa's still one of my great friends. I actually heard from
Yeah,
her today, and it was so much fun.
yeah. We sent her a selfie from that birthday party. Do you remember?
Oh,
You, me, and Jesse Metcalf.
oh,
Um, Melissa Joan Hart. But yeah, you've had like this. You've been not only did you have your own iconic show, but you've popped into all these other iconic shows over the year, which I think
well,
has
it's been
been
an honor, and I'm
incredible.
humbled
You've done
that
so much. I mean, you started at 5 years old, so it's no surprise that you've accomplished
I
so
just
much.
I feel so grateful.
I have to ask, what's next for Soleil Moon Fry after all you've accomplished?
Wow, what's next?
More
Well,
punky?
I'm hoping for many more years of Punky.
Me too.
I really am because it's such a dream come true. I have more documentaries to make.
Oh,
I'm gonna finish the doc on my dad, which
right.
started many years ago. And I have another doc very close to my heart that I'm working on right now. And just continue being mom and
Hmm.
loving my little ones and going on this incredible adventure, educating myself. I love to read. So, reading as much as possible whenever possible. I mean, literally just
Oh, wow.
of reading. So
Nice.
digesting as much knowledge as possible and being of service. Really, truly, I want to continue to be of service and to try and do more good in the world and spread love over fear and just continue to do more.
I
You
love
know.
that. What advice would you have for somebody who aspires to accomplish as much as you have? How would you guide them?
Well, I think that each person is so uniquely themselves and that each person is born with that inner spirit and uniqueness. And so
Yeah,
much of this journey is discovering what that is to you, you know? And I think a lot of times in life, we can get caught up in the everyday of everything that sometimes we can forget about that, little kid that wanted to be the artist, that wanted to be the this, that wanted to be
yeah.
that. And we can, of course, get caught up in like, okay, how do we make it? Because we also need, providers and this and that. And so to try and really look within to what it is that you love most and then lean into that and to have the faith to never stop trying no
I,
matter how many times you feel like you get knocked down to I believe is it Edison that says it's like, or someone says, someone amazing, and I have to look it up, or maybe you can look it up. But it's like you try 1,000 times, and sometimes it's the 1,001th, experiment. That
yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
By the way, hopefully I didn't butcher that, but you know what I'm saying. It's like sometimes you got to try 1,000 times, and it's the 1,001th time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to look up because I need to be right about that.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I want to add to that what you said about like, you know, always remember the inner child, the dreams you had when you were a kid. Don't let go of those. It's like the Punky Brewster thing, like the Punky Brewster that's been inside you all these years. I think it's kind of interesting how it all fits
Well,
together.
and literally, okay, hold on. Yes, okay. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Here's the quote. Okay, how
Right.
did it? Yeah, okay. Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps."
I love that.
And then there's other words. Now, hopefully, I'll send you the quotes. But anyway,
Yeah.
I I was gonna say that the point that you just made about that inner child is really, I think, so much of what Punky is rediscovering again, and so much
Absolutely.
of what Soleil is rediscovering again, and and so much of what this next part of the journey is, which is that real discovery of self, or rediscovery of self. And I think through the documentary, it's like I left a blueprint for myself to find my way back home to who I once was. And in a piece of the documentary, I had written this letter to my future self, and I'm like,
Uh,
who are you now? Who have you become? Like, um, who are you today? Have you made your life worth, all of these things that I had to then question all of the aspects of my life to see if I was, making that little girl me proud, you know what I mean? Because there were so many dreams that I had. And at the same time, I would almost write a letter to my little girl self to say, like, all of the pain, all of the experiences, the roller coaster, like, it is so important to go on that journey, and you will never regret one step of it.
yeah. Wow. And I think that little girl would be very proud that you brought Punky back to life, right?
You. I
She'd
mean,
be
I think the
excited.
little girl and adult girl is very proud.
Very happy.
I feel proud, and I also feel very humbled because I know I just have such gratitude. I walk around and I'm just so grateful. I'm really so grateful.
I'm so happy for you. And okay, the very last thing we do here, I promise, is the last thing.
I'm fine. It's the kids that are gonna come attack you.
Okay, well, hopefully they'll give me a couple more minutes. So the last thing we do, you're gonna like this. I've been doing this since episode 1. This is now episode 61. The last thing we do is called the mystery question, where I have a guest from my last podcast leave the last question for my next guest. So it links every episode together since episode 1.
Okay.
So the guests on my last podcast were Carl Radke and Lindsay Hubbard, who are the stars of Summer House on Bravo, who are old friends of mine. So they each sent me a mystery question for episode 61. So I'm going to open those. And I have no idea what the questions are. I print them and I don't look at them. And I seal them in an envelope. And then you will send me a question for my next guest, whoever that may be.
Okay.
And that's how I will end that chat. So Carl's question is, what's one secret you still keep from your parents?
Well, here's the thing. My mom just saw the documentary and she was like, I had no idea what was going on behind closed doors. So I had a lot of secrets, and then I just showed her the doc, and basically
They're all out. Perfect answer for that. That's a kid.
I still haven't shared them with most of my friends or other family, but my mom now knows them.
March 12th, everyone will know. And then Lindsay's question is, let's see, what's one thing people don't know about you? For example, mine is, I was in ROTC in high school. What's one thing people don't know about you? What a way to end.
I am a really good hula hooper.
Wow.
There you go.
Right. They need to.
And I can still do it today.
Wow. If we weren't on Zoom, I would ask you to do it for everybody. But now they have to write that into season 2 of Punky Brewster on Peacock.
I'm a good hula hooper.
Great answer. And on that note, that is a wrap on episode 61.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for doing this. How awesome was that?
Oh, it was so much fun. And
I loved it.
So grateful for your friendship and your love. And
Likewise.
your kindness, and I hope that everyone tunes in to Punky.
Yeah. Well, the feeling is mutual. Everybody tune in to Punky Brewster on Peacock, February 25th. We're so glad to have you back.
Punky back. On Hulu on March 12th.
Kid 90 Hulu, March 12th. Thank you again, Soleil. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Love you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Soleil.
Bye, honey.
Bye. I wanted to take a minute to talk about the sponsors of On the List. First, we've got Home Nutrition. At homenutrition.com, you can get vitamins and supplements for all your personal goals, backed by clinical results, designed to get you looking and feeling your best. It's the right solution for you to achieve results in mind, body, and mood. The ones that I use every day are Ripped Rooster, which gets you 7 keto, green tea leaf, and chromium. Ripped Rooster. And I also use Here Comes the Sun. There it is in the sun. And that's vitamin D. So that's very important for everybody right now. And if you go to homenutrition.com, you can get 15% off your first order with the code BLEAV, BLEAV. 15% off your first order of $29 or more with the code BLEAV, BLEAV. They also have flexible subscription options and cool packaging, so it's insanely easy to stay on top of your daily dosage. So just go to humnutrition.com and use the code BLEAV. Next, we've got Magic Spoon cereal, which is one of my favorite products. I also use this every day. My favorite is their new flavored peanut butter, and I mix that with cocoa, and you get chocolate peanut butter. So Magic Spoon, I want to talk about for a second. It's got 0 sugar, no sugar at all, even though it tastes great. It's low carb, only 3 grams, so it's keto friendly, and it's high protein with 11 grams per serving. So it's got everything you need. It excludes all the stuff you don't. It's just really good. So if you go to magicspoon.com/Brett, B-R-E-T-T, you can make your own variety pack of 4 flavors. They've got frosted, blueberry, fruity, cocoa, peanut butter. I also mix frosted and blueberry together. And you can also try any new flavors they might be offering. So then just use the code BRETT, B-R-E-T-T, at checkout and get free shipping. And last but not least, we've got eBay, which is known for their vintage sneakers. So here's an example of a pair of vintage sneakers you can get on eBay. And if you love vintage sneakers as much as I do, eBay is the place for you. They've got rare dead stock, the latest releases. You can find the exact sneaker that you're looking for on eBay, and it's actually the original sneaker marketplace, and eBay is the place to go to cop the pair you've been eyeing. And with eBay's authenticity guarantee, you have a team of independent professional authenticators performing rigorous inspections of the sneakers that you purchase before they're sent to you, so you can shop confidently knowing that your pair is the real deal. And for the sneaker sellers out there, eBay has eliminated selling fees on sneakers over $100, so that makes it free to sell or flip your collection. Other sites take 25%, so you're going to have a lot of extra money now for more sneakers. So check out ebay.com/sneakers today, and I'll see you on the next episode of On the List. Thanks.